when Kenan Yildiz collected the ball on the left-hand side, drove forward and cut inside before curling the ball perfectly into the top right corner. Every single Juventus fan around the world, whether at the Allianz Arena or at home, stood up and shouted the same thing: Del Piero. But why? Well, the goal was scored by a player wearing Juventus' iconic number 10, something synonymous with club legend Alessandro Del Piero. But not only that, it was a goal alla Del Piero, a signature type of goal made famous by the Juventus icon during his prime in the 1990s and 2000s, often seen in Serie A and European competitions. These similarities between Juventus' new number 10 and their greatest number 10 don't begin and end with that goal, as Yildiz played into the comparisons by sticking his tongue out in celebration the same way Del Piero did all those years ago. From the very first day that he arrived at Juventus at 17, the Turkish youngster was already being dubbed as the next Alessandro Del Piero, a title that had been given to many Juventus players in the past. Sebastian Giovinco, although he had a good career, never did reach those Del Piero levels that Juve fans thought he would, nor did it work out for Paulo Dybala and Federico Chiesa as a result of injuries taking their toll. So why does this time with Yildiz feel different? What makes this kid so special, and why do Juventus and their fans rate him so highly? Go back to May 4th, 2005, where Kenan Yildiz was born in Regensburg, Germany, to a Turkish father and a German mother. At the age of 3, the ball was never far from his feet. His father helped teach him football, learning from the games they went to together or by watching YouTube, and he began playing football for the youth academies of the Celle in Regensburg and Jahn Regensburg. Even at that age, his technical skills and flair set him apart from his peers, and everyone knew it. Fast forward 4 years, and he had already caught the eye of Bayern Munich scouts and joined their academy at 7 years old. All that training from his father had clearly paid off, and his name was already circulating in the footballing world. In fact, listen to this. In 2015, the power brokers at Adidas made the trip to Regensburg, keen to sign up one of the city's most talented residents, and at the age of just 10 years old, Kenan Yildiz became one of the youngest footballers to ever sign a contract with a sports brand. Yildiz had only been at Bayern Munich for 3 years before signing with Adidas, and even at that age, his potential was clear. Scouts were not only intrigued by his close control and ability to dribble past opponents with ease, but also his leadership qualities, often acting as captain throughout his time at the club. As he progressed rapidly through the youth teams, Yildiz became one of the best players there, and formed 1/3 of a trio of 2005 born talents that left other European clubs green with envy, with Paul Wanner already having forced his way into the first team, and Arijan Ibrahimovic expected to join him there soon. Many people tipped Yildiz to be Bayern Munich's next breakout star, especially considering how important he was for the Bayern youth ranks during the 2021-22 season. He began the season playing for the under-17s, but after scoring 4 goals and getting 5 assists in his first 8 games, he was quickly promoted to the under-19s at just 16 years old. Although he managed to add another 2 goals and 3 assists for the under-19s, Yildiz faced some key issues. An early growth spurt forced him to get used to his new body shape, with Yildiz jumping to 6'2" in a flash, as well as accusations that one of his coaches used racist language towards him. Things at Bayern were not going smoothly. With his contract expiring in the summer, Bayern Munich took their time in offering him a new deal, and by spring 2022, it became clear that Yildiz had no intention of extending his stay at the German club. Although Bayern Munich did eventually offer to extend his contract, it was, according to his agent, too little, too late. In July 2022, the club confirmed that they were unable to re-sign Yildiz, claiming that the youngster was demanding too much money, when the reality was, Bayern Munich had no space for him. With no clear path into the first team at Bayern Munich, Yildiz was now a free agent, and well, he was spoiled for choice. For months it seemed that Yildiz would join Xavi to play for a youthful Barcelona side, but these rumours were just a smokescreen. That same summer, De Ligt was close to a move to Bayern Munich from Juventus, and while the two clubs were actively in discussion about this move, Juventus was secretly working on the Yildiz deal in the background. Just hear what Juventus' chief scout at the time, Matteo Tognazzi, had to say. There were rumours that Kenan himself was going to sign for FC Barcelona, and we let everyone believe it. With the De Ligt deal all but confirmed, on the 12th of July 2022, Juventus finally confirmed the signing of Yildiz, and well, to put it bluntly, he was right back where he started. He began the season playing for the Bianconeri's under-19s at a youth tournament in Switzerland, and was voted player of the tournament after scoring 4 goals, including a hat-trick in the final against Valencia. Months passed, and he was still playing for the under-19s. It was only supposed to be an initial stage, since it was the first time Yildiz had left home according to his agent. So why was Yildiz still playing at a stage that was not sufficiently competitive? Pressure from the player and his agent mounted, and Juventus had no choice but to fast-track him to the club's reserve team, Juve Next Gen. Although Yildiz continued to line up for the Primavera, he did make his professional debut in a Serie C match in December of that year, before featuring regularly for the reserves at the tail end of the season. These performances were enough for then Juventus manager Massimiliano Allegri to include Yildiz in his squad for the pre-season tour of the USA. and a few weeks later, he made his Serie A debut for Juventus in a 3-0 away win against Udinese on the opening weekend of the 2023-24 campaign. As Allegri was asked about Yildiz's debut, instead of speaking about his performance, you know what he said? Tomorrow he has to cut his hair. He must have touched it over 100 times. Yildiz didn't hesitate, not wanting to jeopardise his Juventus career when it only just began, and listened to his manager. Despite the constant hair touching against Udinese, and perhaps because he had cut his hair the following day, Juve's new number 15 appeared from the bench again the following weekend, this time in a 1-1 draw against Bologna in Turin. 3 further Serie A appearances followed by the end of October, and on November the 7th, Yildiz was officially promoted to the first team. However, it wasn't long before more reports of unrest appeared in the press. After making his Turkey debut as a substitute in a Euro 2024 qualifying win over Croatia on October the 12th, Yildiz was given his first start for the national team the following month in a friendly against Germany, the country of his birth. And as fate would have it, he scored his first international goal against the country he rejected as a kid on the stroke of half-time. Just 3 days later, he featured again, coming off the bench to win the penalty which Yusuf Yazici converted to earn Turkey a crucial 1-1 draw with Wales in Cardiff. According to reports, Yildiz and his representatives felt that his exploits with the national team proved that he deserved even more game time at club level. With very little forthcoming, talk of a transfer intensified as the January transfer window approached, with Arsenal, Liverpool, Fenerbahce, Galatasaray and Benfica all credited with interest. But then, he was finally given his opportunity. Allegri brought Yildiz on late in a 1-1 draw at Genoa on December 15th, his first Serie A appearance since October, before giving him his first start in Serie A against Frosinone 8 days later. With Yildiz once again determined to impress, it didn't take him long. 12 minutes from when the whistle blew to start the match, Yildiz scored the opening goal, a stunning individual strike which made him the club's youngest foreign goal scorer in Serie A at the age of 18 years and 233 days. He started again in Juventus' next game, a 1-0 win against Roma, before returning to the bench when Salernitana visited in the Coppa Italia on January the 4th, needing just 22 minutes to score an even better solo goal after being brought on in the 66th minute of his side's 6-1 victory. Since then, his rise has been meteoric. Things for Yildiz finally looked up. 20 more Serie A appearances, including 7 Serie A starts, followed over the course of the season, and although he only managed to score once more, his performances were enough for him to get called up for Euro 2024. Look, for Turkey, Yildiz was almost a guaranteed starter. Out of the 5 games Turkey participated in, Yildiz started all but 1, with Turkey crashing out in the quarterfinals against the Netherlands. Although he finished a tournament with no goal contributions, it certainly wasn't a failure. Picking up important minutes in his first international tournament, as well as showcasing his talent on the international stage at just 19 years old, is an important development milestone in his young career. But even though Yildiz came home empty-handed, his potential was evident and his best was about to come. Yildiz returned from the tournament to a new-look Juventus side for the 2024-25 season, the manager that gave him his first team debut no longer there, and although Allegri was important to Yildiz's development, his style of play was not a seamless fit with the tactics used. He was often deployed as a second striker alongside Vlahovic, which was arguably suboptimal for his development. Thiago Motta's arrival to the club was viewed as a positive for Yildiz, with the manager looking to build a squad around him and play to his strengths. Over the summer, his importance to the team increased tenfold, and with rumours continuing to circulate about who would take the number 10 shirt for the new season, Yildiz was putting himself in these conversations. But even though the stars aligned perfectly for Yildiz to inherit the famous number 10, one thing was missing. The Juventus hierarchy wanted reassurance that Yildiz would pledge his future to the club, so only a year after he extended his contract, he extended it again to 2029 and was handed the famous number 10. But why was Yildiz actually given a number with so much importance to the Bianconeri, a player that at that point had only made 9 Serie A starts? Bear in mind that this number was worn by some of Juventus' best ever players such as Roberto Baggio, Alessandro Del Piero, and more recently Paulo Dybala and Paul Pogba. The same Pogba who was suspended, giving Yildiz the opportunity to inherit the number 10, prompting Juventus to pass the torch to Yildiz as a statement of their long-term vision and commitment to nurturing young talent. By giving a player that only 1 year ago was the number 10 in the reserve team for Juventus such an iconic number, not only underlines his significance to them, but also highlights the importance Juventus is willing to give young players if they prove that they are good enough. The manner in which the club are putting emphasis on Yildiz is a clear indication of that. The new long-term contract and a new number are signs that the club's hierarchy have sought to build their new look squad around the Turkey international, despite him being just 19 years old. This leads to the question, is Yildiz ready for the number 10 shirt and all the history with it? Well, This wasn't the first time Juventus gave their famous number 10 to a teenager. Remember when I mentioned how Yildiz was dubbed the next Del Piero? Well, Del Piero was only 19 years of age in the 1993-94 season when he briefly donned the number, and 21 when it became permanent. So, with this question hanging over his head as a new season approached, Yildiz had a point to prove. And well, did he prove the doubters wrong? After starting the season with an assist in each of his first 2 games of the new season, and that record-breaking goal against PSV in the Champions League, making him the youngest ever player to score for Juventus in the competition, Yildiz was still yet to register a goal in Serie A. However, that was soon going to change in the next game against Inter. For just the second time this season, Yildiz was starting from the bench, like he did for much of last season. After a hectic start, Inter led 4-2 with half an hour to go. Enter Kenan Yildiz. Just 9 minutes after coming on, Yildiz had his first goal of the season, driving into the box from the left before firing a low shot across the face of goal and into the bottom corner. 11 minutes later, and just 8 from full time, Yildiz scored again, striking the ball with his weaker foot to save a point for Juventus and keep him unbeaten in the league, also winning his first player of the match of the season. His second came in the derby against Juventus' local rivals Torino, where he also scored his 3rd goal of the season and celebrated in similar style to his other goals, tongue out, arms outstretched. Yildiz still has the remainder of the season to prove he is the right man to bring the Scudetto back to Juventus, so only time will answer the question if Yildiz is ready for the responsibility. But as Yildiz continues to rise, already a fan favourite for the Bianconeri, one thing is certain, his potential is limitless and a new era is coming.